I don't typically make videos going after other creators, but this one is warranted. What makes me really sad about making this video is that I actually really like Uhyeah's content, although I'm not subscribed. He usually is really on top of everything and makes great critiques and praises. However, his recent Finding Frankie video, I noticed quite a few issues that led me to conclude that Uhyeah fumbled big time. Let's not waste any time and get right into the video. He asks if we're paying attention to his rant about hating puzzles and mascot horror games, as if he didn't pay attention to the game that he is currently ripping apart. While he praises Finding Frankie for not having puzzles, it's clear that his 2-minute rant and very unfunny mini skit is just to fill time, even though his video is 44 minutes long. Just get to the point, you're still getting paid plenty. His first point is saying we play as a child. Wrong. Very, very wrong. Now he tries to backtrack by saying we are probably a child, but if you actually beat the game in under an hour like he said he did, then I can see how he would miss such a crucial point, because he just wasn't paying attention and was too focused on flaunting how fast he can run through virtual platforms. We are explicitly shown that we have an apartment, albeit very surrealistic. It's still a reference to our living situation, and we don't see other people in there, which leads us to conclude that it is our apartment that we rent out ourselves. He sits there and rips on the game for this point, and it makes him look like an absolute goober, which could have been avoided if he just actually looked at the screen during the playthrough. His next point is his concern for why people keep coming here. Bud, did you listen to anything you just said? You win an entry into Frankie's Parkour Palace. Nobody knows that you die in this game show. It is also not televised, as he says. It's a live stream through a dark web Twitch equivalent. The start of the game actually proves that nobody knows this is a death sentence because of the way the other contestants prepare for it, as if it's just a race like Wipeout. Even the intercom addresses the Frankie attack at the beginning as if the player didn't expect it, which we didn't. I think the only point I can agree with is the Tumblr sexy man comment on Henry Hotline, but that's all the grace I'm giving. He makes a good point about the police report, but here's my thoughts. It's implied that the show was off air for a while because of bankruptcy. While this point is argued in the game, it's hard to tell what the truth is. Not to mention, if we remember the part about this being live streamed on the dark web, it instantly makes the police point have different meaning. See, as much as we want to believe the police are on top of dark web stuff, they aren't. There's so much muck and weeds to go through, you can't get to all of it. And if something has been under the radar for so long until this highly anticipated moment where the contestant actually is proving their ability to be the first winner, then the stream will get more traction. And out of the 19,000 people watching the stream, and perhaps more throughout the game, the cops are bound to find out at that point. It's kind of like saying, how did the cops not know about Squid Game and do anything to stop it? Which I never finished the show because I found it incredibly stupid and boring, overhyped if you will. So if the cops did actually know about the show, then just ignore that last comment. I love how facetious Uhyeah is when he talks about the Henry Hotline death scene, as if he didn't script a 44-minute video that has many invalid points because he refused to check his notes. Okay, this next point he tries to make is hilarious. In the exact same clip he uses to prove his point, he contradicts himself by showing us the truth, and it was right under his nose. I thought dogs had a good sense of smell, but I guess not. Uhyeah says that there is nothing for the player to grab onto for survival when falling into the burning trash pit. Oh, you poor, poor thing. What is it that I see in the clip he uses reference? Oh, do my eyes deceive me? Or is that 2 different rails the player can grab onto? And not even just in that clip do we see it in multiple parts of that location. He literally tries to make up some stupid theory that takes away from the game and its legitimacy, but again, he could have saved his breath if he just took as long as he is taking to make the granny video to double check his reference clip and see the flaw in his argument. What's really funny is that Uhyeah makes a really good point about how everyone being in the same costume allows for ambiguity among the viewers of the game show. They will never know if the true winner was replaced after an untimely death. But at the beginning of his video, Uhyeah rips the devs for not wanting to quote model faces, and that the Frankie suits are just cop-outs. So what is it? Does he think it's a cop-out or an integral part of the story? I don't know what he means by lackluster build-up when he gives his concluding thoughts, because this is the same person who intentionally wanted to speedrun the game and refused to pay attention to little details that clear up his own confusion. Nobody has made a claim that this game is too short except for him. So that's a personal problem, and you can't dock the game for not fitting your ridiculous standards for being 10 hours long to get to any sort of fulfillment. He never fails to make me laugh. He also never fails to contradict himself in the same paragraph. So Uhyeah claims that this game is too ambitious for being so short, and then not even a minute later he says the game needs more locations to showcase the parkour. I'm not even going to elaborate on that. This guy just wanted something to complain about because, as I said in my Finding Frankie upload, videos that attack content do better than those that praise it. Oh yeah, I just needed an excuse to get views so his free edition of the game didn't come back to bite him in the butt. Don't want to lose that connection with the dev team, So then he starts praising the speedrun aspect of the game, but I thought the game was too short. So what's the point of speedrunning a short game if the game is already short enough to feel like a speedrun? Unless if the game wasn't short at all and you're just being picky about an invalid point. He says that the price for the game is too high. It's $15. That is not high. You can Uber 2 spicy chicken sandwiches from Popeyes for that amount of money, and that's a 10% tip included. You know what is admittedly expensive? $60 for Animal Crossing on the Switch. Sure, you can pay for the long-term gameplay, but there's no true progression into the game once you get through the basics. It's based upon just remodeling your island forever, and that gets very boring very fast. Unlike Finding Frankie, which is completely immersive the entire time and is $45 cheaper and has a sequel most likely on the way. And for someone who has 670,000 subscribers and got the game for free, you would think the price would be irrelevant to him. Now, I will agree that a make-your-own parkour segment of the game would be fun, but that's not the purpose of the game and you're just reaching at this point. The rest of the video, he talks about controls and general gameplay. I can't say anything about controls because I haven't played the game myself, but I've watched many videos of the gameplay. I don't have a PC, so I just genuinely can't play the game. However, he makes some points about the Henry Hotline cheese sequence that bothers me a bit. While the game's focus is on various parkour sites, Henry Hotline is never expressed to be a parkour aspect of the parkour palace. His section is naturally going to be different, and it is. It reminds me a lot of the Freddy chase in the Ruin DLC of Security Breach, and I personally really like it, as it is a break from the parkour and a moment to explore other things the devs have to offer in the game. I can understand how Deputy Duck is virtually useless aside from the scripted parts, and I would traditionally agree with this. However, Uhyeah complains about how dark the location with Henry is, and then claims the flash is useless. So maybe use the flash feature in the sequence if it's that hard to see. Which he also contradicts by saying that one of the levers is completely easy to see without the flash, so I don't really know what he's trying to get at. But all that to say, I don't think Deputy Duck was utilized enough, but at the same time, it seems Uhyeah was already soured towards this section and naturally finds fault with everything in it without looking at it from an objective perspective. From then on, I stopped paying attention to this video because he just wouldn't stop yapping to conclude his thoughts, so if he said anything else, I didn't catch it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't like making videos where I rant about other creators. However, when you fumble this hard just to squeeze out an unnecessary video since you were behind on the bandwagon, it makes my sympathy fly out the window. I at least did my research for my Finding Frankie video, and while it performed poorly, my notes are correct and I don't have a slaughterhouse of comments telling me I missed integral parts of the game I just talked about. So this doesn't mean that Uhyeah is unreliable or a bad creator, it just means he didn't do his homework and tries to act all high and mighty while sweeping that under the rug. I know this video is very different from my usual content and that I jumped around a lot, but I was actively writing the script while watching his video just to make sure I didn't miss any points or start to contradict myself, because then my video would become invalid. Before you go, make sure to check out the link tree in the description below or on the card on the screen right now, where you can find my other platforms such as my Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, and Ko-Fi. My commissions are open, and if you ever need anything from me through other means, I also have my email listed on my About page. So be sure to check that out, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.